What's going on, folks? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner, and I am Nick. So, some things in life are obvious. Gravity, water's wet, politicians suck, Epstein didn't kill himself. And some things not so obvious or mysterious. So, why is my wife mad at me? Why is it raining today when I had plans? Why is it cold and then hot in Georgia and then cold again? Who knows? One of the big mysteries in the gun world, though, it seems to be, or a lot of misconceptions surrounding it at least, is the DASA handgun, double action, single action handgun. There's a lot of hate for it, which is crazy because you don't have to carry one, right? Like, you don't have to carry it. There's a lot of misconceptions about its pros and cons. There's a lot of misconceptions about how to safely and effectively operate one. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, DASA handgun. So real quick, I've actually got a couple different examples out here with me. Back on camera. Okay, sorry, I had to reach a little bit further than I thought I was going to have to. Beretta M9, so for any of my vets out there, it is Veterans Day, so I thought this was appropriate to bring out there. So to all my fellow vets, thank you. We're not going to get in a whole thank you for your service circle jerk, but thank you. So we have the Beretta M9. If you're a vet, or if you've owned a Beretta 92 FS, very iconic, very common handgun. It's got one type of double action, single action mechanism we're going to be talking about and demonstrating. And I have my FNX 45 Tactical out here, which is a very different style. I had a couple other ones I wanted to bring out here, but guys, I am like, there's only so many guns I can bring out here at a time without bringing the whole truck over here. I really didn't feel like doing that today, so I will be talking about another one, and I'll just put a clip of me shooting that one. It's going to be the P09 Urban Gray, which is a very simple decocker mechanism. I'll put a clip in this video. It's not going to be from today, obviously. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So to start with, we'll start with the Beretta M9, mags out, chamber's clear. So with this one, you have a safety slash decocker right there. It's ambidextrous. Right now it is in the safe position. It goes up. It has red, so yeah, typical red dot lets you know that it's ready to go. So if you had the mag in, chambered around, when you bring the slide forward or let the slide go forward, it's going to chamber the round. The hammer is also going to go down, and you have a dead trigger. To fire this gun, flip the safety up, pull the trigger. Your first shot is double action. The term double action just means the trigger's doing two things. It is both cocking the hammer and releasing the hammer. It's a double action. Your subsequent shots after you fired that, obviously we'll demonstrate this here in a second. Subsequent shots, the hammer is now, I'm having a hard time with, yeah, there we go. Hammer is now cocked, so you have a single action. The only action that the trigger is performing when you pull it is releasing the hammer at this point. So, now that we've kind of explained that, it's going to be the same across the board. Double action means one pull of the trigger is both cocking the hammer and then releasing it. Single action means that when you pull the trigger, it's doing a single action, typically releasing that hammer. A single action 1911s, think revolver. So if you have a double action revolver, you pull the trigger, hammer goes back, forward, or you can cock the hammer and then fire it in single action mode. So it's really, that's what the terms mean. I guess the biggest mystery or misconception would be how to effectively use a gun like this. I've heard people say, you know, with a gun like this, if you double action first shot, that trigger pull is going to be a lot heavier, obviously, because you're cocking the hammer and releasing it. The best thing to do is just put that in the ground and then fight with the rest of them in single action. Number one, that's stupid. You're wasting time. Number two, you are accountable for every round that leaves the gun. So whatever happens with that round, you are accountable for it. Now I realize that's a lot easier answer than saying, hey, maybe you should put in the work and learn how to master that trigger pull and then go from there, which I'm not claiming to be a master of that, but you should practice with it till that you are proficient with that first shot. So I think what we're going to do now is demonstrate both the Beretta and the FNX 45 because I like to shoot, and after we do that we will kind of talk about the principles of use or philosophy of use, whatever you want to call it, with the double action single action pistol. Alright, so got the Beretta M9, got a Mag 15 loaded up. What we'll go ahead and do now is just go ahead and chamber a round. So round is chambered, hammer's down, safety is on, so when I pull the trigger nothing happens. We'll go ahead and fire that first shot off, double action. We're at a distance of about 15 yards from the target for those who care. So, first shot was double action. As you can see, the hammer is now cocked. You get a lot more light and crisp function of the trigger after that. And then, if you wanted to say you were done shooting, you can move the safety lever. It drops the hammer. Trigger is now dead again. If you decide you need to start shooting again, all you do, flip that safety up. And there you go. So I'm going to finish off this mag, probably do the first one, double action, and then go from there. Alright, that's going to be it for the Beretta M9. I'll go get the FNX Tactical. Alright, so the FNX 45 Tactical, I do have a full review up on this gun if you were interested in watching that. I will put that up in the corner for you. So, no mag inserted, chamber is clear. So, this one is a little bit different. Now, this actually has a 3-position ambidextrous safety and decocker, yeah, that's really all it is. So right now it is in the safe position, so if I pull the trigger, nothing happens. If I go down to fire, yep, red dot on both sides, I just had to make sure. Go down to fire, you can see that hammer start to move in the back, double action. Of course, all subsequent shots would be single action. But one of the cool things about this one is you have a decocker, so if you pull down on that safety lever, the hammer drops. Now, as long as that red dot's visible, it's automatically going to return to the safety off position, so the gun is still ready to fire. If you put it up one more, it goes to full safe, trigger goes dead. But if you were to put it on safe with the hammer back, trigger goes dead, and then you have almost reminiscent of like a 1911 manual thumb safety right here. So this gun could safely be carried cocked and locked. So, of course, I don't know how I feel about that. It's going to depend on how you train with this firearm. I would probably just have it double action safety off. So, and we'll get more into why I feel safe carrying it with the safety off here in a second, but let's shoot this one. So, 15 round magazine, like the M9, but 45, so that's always fun. All right, we'll go ahead and chamber around, and I'll drop that hammer. So the first shot's gonna be double action, so here we go. Drop the hammer again, practice that double action. Forgot how much I love this gun. Alright, let's go back down there and we'll talk some more about them. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple down double action, so I'll fire and then you'll hear me drop the hammer and do it again. Double action is not bad, guys. So it's hard to have a conversation about double action, single action pistols without referencing their competition, right? So you've got single action onlys like 1911s, and then you have striker fire guns, P10C. So still out here testing and evaluating this one. So striker fire guns, one of their big selling points is that trigger pull is going to be the same every single time. You're not going to be dealing with a heavy double action and a lighter single action. Every single time that you pull that trigger, it's going to be the same, time after time after time. And guns like the P10C have excellent striker fire triggers. It's not really double action and it's not really single action. It's kind of like a mild double action. So when you are pulling the trigger, you have a striker in here that's already pre-tensioned, pre-cocked to an extent, but part of that draw stroke is finishing cocking that striker and then releasing it. So it's kind of a double action in principle, but instead of having a hammer, I don't know, somebody more knowledgeable than me, feel free to correct me in the comments. So it's kind of a hybrid, but the thing is that you get a very consistent trigger pull with a striker fired gun. With a double action gun, that initial trigger pull is heavy. I mean, there is no getting around that. It's not really up for debate. It's heavy. One of the advantages, though, to carrying a gun like this is as you're reholstering, you have a hammer here. This gun will not fire until the hammer comes back and drops back down. So like this particular one has a safety, you got a dead trigger, cool, whatever. So the Urban Grey has a decocker or a safety, so you could carry it true double action without the option of having that decocker, which I kind of like. It's a safe way to bring that hammer back down. When you're reholstering a gun like this, you keep your thumb on the hammer as you're putting it down in the holster. You know if anything's pulling that trigger or starting to make it fire. So that is really cool. You don't have that with striker fired guns. There is an exception. There is a striker control device that'll go on the back plate of a Glock that does move. I've never seen one in person, but cool concept. So just make sure stuff's not in your holster. If you're watching, stay safe, keep shooting. I'll see you next time.